and State 663699, State versus Victor Vela. Would the three of you please raise your right hand? Do you each solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Ms. Martinez,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia,
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Vela.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vela?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You may put your hand down. Lady and gentlemen, before we proceed, I need to discuss with each of you. There's a record being made by my court reporter, Ms. Kaylin Rivera. It is an official record, and I am discussing with you some rights and protections that you're allowed in our system of justice. First right I want to mention to you is that each of you individually in your respective case has a right to remain silent. That means you don't have to make any kind of statement. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit written paperwork that you have documents that you have signed, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. That is the right to remain silent. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Vela
I understand, sir. Yes.
and Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, you each have the right to a jury trial. Each of you individually has the right to have you and your attorney select, with the state, select 6 people from a jury pool of disinterested citizens. They would hear all of the evidence, testimony, whatever materials, and decide whether you are not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. You understand you have the right to a jury trial, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Vela,
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor.
You also, each of you have the individual right to confront witnesses. What that means is that each of you, if you decided to go to trial, each of you would have the state would have to put up witnesses to try and prove their case. And each of you individually, with your attorney, would have the right to question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness who would testify. That's called the right of confrontation of witnesses. You understand you have that right, Mr. Vela?
Yes.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Garcia,
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor.
You also have the right, it's called the right of appeal. That is a difficult right on the technical side because it has time limitations. It also requires the right forms and information in the forms in which you would demand that a higher court review the official record and the evidence in each of your respective cases, and for whatever legal challenge you wanted to make. That's basically called the right of appeal. Do you understand you have that right, Ms. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Vela,
Sir.
Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Finally, there's a right to each of you has to demand that this proceeding and all proceedings be held in the open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're doing things by computer and not in real life. So in order to have that done, each of you, in order to proceed, have reviewed and signed a document titled Defendant's Consent to Video Conference. It identifies each of you individually, and then it has that declaration, and then you have reviewed it and signed it. Is that correct, Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Vela,
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pardon me, Ms. Martinez. Now, the system of justice we have requires you to review different documents and sign them if you wish to proceed with your plea. If you did that, you had the assistance, the guidance, and the counsel or the legal help of your individual attorney. Mr. Garcia, the different papers that are part of your particular case, did you have the help of Mr. De La Garza or an attorney that he works with in reviewing and counseling with you concerning those papers?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Martinez, did you have the assistance of Nathan Slamane?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Vela, did you have the assistance of Raimundo Aleman?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, we've talked about the first document wherein you consented to video conference. The next document I want to discuss with you briefly is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. Each of you got one of those documents. It respectively identifies each of you. It talks about what you're charged with. It has an area in there that has 14 numbered sections that talk about acknowledging the rights and protections that you have that you are giving up. Are you aware of the document I'm referring to, Mr. Vela?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Martinez
Yes, Your Honor.
and Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do either of you have any questions or any confusion concerning this document that has not been resolved or explained to you? Joey Garcia,
No, Your Honor.
Victoria Martinez,
No, Your Honor.
and Victor Vela.
No, sir.
All right. Now, another document that's of importance, or all of them are important, but another document that's significant is a document that identifies you, and then it has a certification from me. It's titled Trial Court Certification Defendant's Right of Appeal. Each one of you in that document in writing has been told that because you're making a deal with the state, it's called a plea bargain agreement. Because you're making that deal, you will not have a right of appeal. You're giving up that right. Did you understand that, Mr. Vela?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now you state, are all three going to get a probation?
Yes, Judge.
What kind does Mr. Garcia going to get?
It's a straight probation.
Okay. Ms. Martinez?
Oh, I apologize, Judge. This one is actually going to be jail time, asked to be served on GPS
On Mr. Garcia?
on Martinez.
Okay. And Mr. Vela?
That'll be for deferred probation.
Will be deferred?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So we have Mr. Joey Garcia who have regular probation or straight probation. Ms. Martinez will do jail by GPS. And Mr. Vela will do deferred adjudication. All right. Now, for the two of you that are applying for probation, Steve, I'm in court. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I think they expect, like most people, would be at lunch right now. All right. Those of you, the two of you that have applied for probation, probation is a written legal binding agreement between you and this court. The essence of the agreement is that whatever the jail sentence that is involved in your case, it will be suspended or probated. In the case of deferred adjudication, there will be no conviction of the charge on which you plead. Instead, there'll be a deferring or a postponing it in a sense. And if you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision in the deferred case, the case gets dismissed and you've never been convicted. On a regular probation case, you're found guilty, but the jail sentence in particular is suspended or probated so long as you live up to the conditions of probation. In either case, if you fail or refuse to live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, then the state can ask me to have a hearing after official notice. And if I determine it is appropriate on a probation, I will revoke the probation and send you to jail in accordance with the agreement. If in a deferred, you are given notice and you appear and I think it is appropriate, then at that point, the court can enter a finding of guilt and revoke your probation. But here's what happens. I would have 100% of the range of punishment to consider in punishing you if you violate the deferred. So, Mr. Joey Garcia, what is the motion of the state, if any?
No contest, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, the state, what is the motion? Do you have a motion at all?
Judge, there's no motion on this case.
All right, then, to the charge of DWI with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or higher, how do you plead, Mr. Garcia?
No contest, Your Honor.
A no contest plea in this court is considered a guilty plea. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And a no contest plea is sufficient for me to find you guilty. Now, I accept your plea. Do you plead no contest at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I accept your plea of no contest. Based on your plea and the evidence, I find you guilty. State what is the punishment that y'all have agreed on.
Judge, in this case, it is 365 days Bexar County Jail probated over 18 months. A $600 fine plus court costs. 48 community service hours. DWI education. The victim impact panel. The TAP evaluation. Ignition interlock for half the term, and $60 restitution to DPS.
Mr. Garcia, how do you make a living?
I'm a project manager for my family's AC and heating company, Your Honor.
And that means you make what kind of money on a regular basis?
I make a little under $100,000 a year after taxes.
Mr. De La Garza, you were employed, not appointed, is that correct?
I believe Courtney was appointed, and then he did contract with me to step in for him for today.
I'm having trouble understanding what you said.
I believe Courtney Hilliard was appointed on the case, but yes, he did contract with me to step into his shoes for today.
Excuse me. I hired Courtney Hilliard to represent me.
There we go. That clears up that confusion.
Patricia, what does the record show as far as whether Mr. Hilliard was appointed or hired?
For Joey Garcia, Judge,
That is
It
correct.
shows hired.
Okay. All right.
And on, Your Honor, on our plea, I wanted to make the court aware that Mr. Garcia does have a special needs child. So when he is not at work, he has a child that commands a whole lot of attention and time for him and his family. And so if there's anything that can be done with respect to any of the sentence or the community service hours for doing donations instead, we just wanted to make you aware of that fact so that you could consider it.
all right. So how many children do you have total?
I have 3, Your Honor.
How old are they?
11, 9, and 4.
And one of them is a special needs child.
Yes, my youngest, my 4-year-old.
Do you receive assistance from people like Easter Seals or any organization or group?
No. He keeps getting denied every time we apply for it.
All right. Do you have health insurance that helps you with the child?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I cannot accept a $600 fine where you have the income that you do. I assert I will fine you $850 instead, which is giving you a punishment that is greater than what you agreed to and gives rise to your opportunity to start all over again if you choose or you can accept that. You'll do 48 hours of community service restitution. I do approve donation in lieu of the 48 hours work. That'll be at $12 an hour. You may donate to the Gabriel Project, or if you prefer, you can do a donation for that amount for any or all hours that you wish to do to the San Antonio Food Bank. In addition, your supervisory fee will be $43 a month. You will complete the DWI education program, the victim impact panel, and the TAP evaluation and recommendation. You will have for the period, a continuous period of 9 months, the ignition and interlock installed in your vehicle. You'll do a one-time payment to DPS of $60. Your official sentence is 365 days, Bexar County Jail, probated for 18 months. Now, are you a U.S. citizen, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I think that covers this this particular defendant. Any questions or additions, state?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing from the state judge.
All right. Mr. Garcia, do not leave. You have to stay here on this hearing until you visited with Ms. Maricela Luna regarding probation. She will guide you. You'll need to come in within 1 week and have your thumbprint placed on the documents involved in this case, which is required by law. Is that clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Be extra careful, sir, especially in your situation where you have a special needs child. If you have further problems or you went out and drank and drove and killed somebody, then we put you in prison. And that means that your child would be minus the assistance and love and caring that you could give him. All 3 of them, but in particular the special needs child. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor. Trust me when I say that this is the biggest wake-up call of my life.
Well, I hope that it is. I'm sorry that you have to go through it. But, you know, when the old tried expression, when you get lemon, make lemonade. Take
Yes,
care.
sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, may I be excused? Am I completed?
Yes, sir, Mr. De La Garza. Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Victoria Martinez.
Yes, Your Honor.
Does, in this case, this is gonna be a straight plea, obviously.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it gonna be no contest or regular?
No contest.
All right. Ms. Martinez to the charge of DWI second. Is that what the plea is, state?
Judge, I think the state has a motion.
Well, that's what I need. Motion is.
One moment, Your Honor.
Judge, I'm sorry. I was on the phone. This is for Martinez.
That's correct.
Judge, it's a 60 days Bear County Jail, and it's to be served on GPS.
And what is she pleading to?
It's a DWI first. We're waiving the enhancement.
So that's the motion. The state moves to waive the DWI second enhancement and proceed with DWI first.
Yes,
Yes, Your
Judge.
Honor, and the defense has no objection.
All right, there is no objection. The court grants that motion. Ms. Martinez, in this case, you're pleading to a TWI misdemeanor B.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your attorney has succeeded in getting it reduced, but be aware, you will now have 2 DWIs. And
Yes, Your Honor.
if you get a third one, you're looking at state felony. Now,
I
what's
understand,
left?
sir.
Do you have children? Do you have children?
Yes, sir. I have a daughter. She's in nursing school right now. And then I have a son. And a
How old-
grandbaby. I also have a grandbaby.
How old is the son?
My son is 19. He just had a baby, so that's my grandbaby. And my daughter just turned 21. She's in college, but I help them both out as much as I can.
I understand. All right. To the charge of DWI first, officially, how do you plead?
No contest.
A no contest plea is considered a guilty plea in this court and is sufficient for me to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, how do you make a living, ma'am?
I work as a packer for a moving company.
And what income do you have?
About 18 to 2,000 every month.
All right,
1,800 to 2,000 every month.
I hear you. Were you informed that based on your conviction that the state may try to fine you somewhere around $5,000 or $6,000 on a separate proceeding?
Your Honor, yeah, Nathan Slimane, we discussed that and actually have a motion on file asking the court to order that that fine be waived in light of the fact that the court has previously made an affirmative finding that Ms. Martinez is indigent, and based on Code of Criminal Procedure 2604, any prior determination of indigency is presumed to continue for the remainder of the proceedings in the case. So based on that, we would ask the court to consider that prima facie proof of indigency and waive the imposition of any fines under 709 of the Transportation Code. And I do have a written motion on file.
All right. Your attorney has done a good job for you, ma'am,
Yes, Your Honor.
but I am concerned for your sake that the state may not find that very convincing. They can come back and try and fine you $5,000 plus. So just be aware of that. I do enter a finding that you are indigent. And I order that the state waive or not proceed with the finding in 709.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank
Now-
you, Your Honor.
You are sentenced to 60 days Bear County Jail. During those 60 days, you are to serve those 60 days by GPS, Global Positioning System, and home arrest. Anything else, state?
Nothing further from the state judge.
Defense?
Yes, Judge, briefly, with regard to GPS, we would ask that the court enter an order of partial GPS so that Ms. Martinez can continue to work. She does have employment, as she had stated on the record. She does support her family. And so we would like her to continue to work to support her family. So we would ask for partial GPS. And also if the court would be so good as to waive the fees associated with GPS.
Ms. Martinez, do you have a vehicle?
Yes, Your Honor.
What do you drive? What is it?
I have a 2006 Kia Spectra. But it has an electrical short, so it gives me problems. So I have to carry a portable charger to keep charging the battery. I've taken it to several shops. They can't find what's causing the battery to die. Everybody gets me different things. So
All right.
And
Now,
Judge,
I will make this partial house arrest. You're allowed to go to and from work only.
yes, sir.
You have 2 adult children that can do all the shopping and groceries, etc., that you need ordinarily. Otherwise, go home to work, until you
Yes, sir.
complete 60 days. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
and very lastly, Your Honor, as a condition of Ms. Martinez's bond, she has been on ignition interlock. She's been fully compliant. I have not received notice of any violations, but that has been up to this point a condition of bond. Now that we're resolving the case and she's being sentenced to jail to be served on GPS, bond will be closed. But it's an interesting situation in the sense that she's not going to be serving the sentence in jail. Ordinarily, my request would be that the court enter an order to remove the ignition interlock now that she's going to be serving the sentence. But I didn't know how the court would like to proceed with ignition interlock now that bond is being closed.
In this instance, I'm going to continue to have the ignition interlock. This was her second DWI, although again, it reduced for punishment's sake. I'm not going to go that far because she's already gotten a hell of a break as it is.
Yes, Your Honor, understood.
All right. Ignition interlock will continue for the duration, which is 60 days more.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. And when should Ms. Martinez report to the sheriff's office?
I would suggest that she do that either today or tomorrow.
Very good. Victoria can do that by 5 p.m. tomorrow to report to.
Yes, I
the
can do it
sheriff's
by
office?
5 p.m. tomorrow. Yep.
Okay.
All right. 5 p.m. tomorrow, which is the 4th. All right. Victor Vela,
Yes, sir.
what is the motion of the state?
Guilty.
State? What is the motion of the state?
Sorry, I was muted. The motion was to amend the information adding account 2 for obstruction and then proceed solely on count 2.
No objection, Your Honor.
There being no objection, do you also waive the 10-day notice of amendment?
Yes, sir.
Then, that being the case, court grants the motion, and you are now charged, Mr. Vela, with DWI, I beg your pardon, with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Aleman has succeeded in getting it taken out of DWI, regular DWI category. Now, to that charge, how do you plead, Mr. Vela?
Guilty, Your Honor.
All righty. State, what is the recommended punishment?
Your Honor, the recommended punishment is 12 months deferred adjudication.
12 months?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
$400 fine, fully probated. 48 hours community service. DWI education. Victim impact panel live. TAP evaluation. And ignition interlock for half the term.
Before I pronounce sentence, Mr. Vela, how do you make a living?
I do home remodeling.
You do what?
I do home remodeling.
All right. You own your own business?
No, sir.
Who do you work for?
I work with my dad in some real estate agencies.
So about how much money are you making a month?
Less than 2,000. A little bit less than 2,000.
We'll say about 2,000, probably a little bit more.
Yeah.
You have
Work-
children to support?
No, sir.
All right. I accept your plea of guilty. I find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty. I grant you 12 months deferred adjudication. You are fined $400 plus court costs. The $400, you will do 48 hours community service restitution. You'll complete the DWI education program. You will do a victim impact panel live program. You'll submit, or rather you'll participate in the TAP evaluation plus the recommendations for 6 full months as a minimum. You will have continuously a ignition interlock in your vehicle. During the entire 12 months, you're not to drink any alcohol at all. Obviously, you're not to use any illegal drugs. Now, the supervisory fee will be $38 a month. I do not accept the probating of the $400 fine. In fact, I'm going to make that $500 fine not probated. You'll have 1 year to pay it off with your other fees and costs. Now, I have increased your punishment greater than what you agreed to. By law, you can start all over again if you so choose, or you can accept my decision. It's up to you. Mr. Vela.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear
Sir.
what I said?
Yes, sir. I would not like to.
You want to start all over, or you're going to accept my decision?
I would accept your decision, sir.
All right. Then do not leave this hearing until you've gotten to meet with Ms. Maricela Luna. She's gonna start you off on the probation program. You'll need to come by within 7 days and have your thumbprint attached to the different documents involved in this case. The same thing applies to Ms. Victoria Martinez. Although since she's going through the jail and through the court system, I'm sure that they'll have her thumbprint taken. Anything else, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense,
Judge.
Mr. Aleman?
No, I would like to thank the court. Just, and I would like to apologize for any problems I may have caused the court.
Not a problem. We try to be understanding. If you can't be here, you can't, and we do understand your limitations. So just hang in there and keep working.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor,
Ma'am,
it was a $38 supervisory fee for
yes, ma'am.
Mr. Vela.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I think that takes care of us for this